So welcome to District 4, to the point for information and news. I'm your host, Daylove. So we are going to talk maybe about just news of the day. At first, I want to address some of the cybersecurity information that we talked about in the last video. You guys had a lot of questions about that, and I wanted to make sure that I went in and answered those. But it'll be on a separate video. I just kind of want to cover some different content first, like let that all absorb from everybody, and then move forward from there. So I have your questions. I will address them in a Q&A, and we'll, kind of get more detail because a lot of people wanted more detail. So I will do that. But before I get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. But I also want to talk to you a little bit about, we're going to talk a little bit about Hollywood today. We're going to talk about what's going on there, the parts that they don't want you to see maybe a little bit, and the changes that are unfolding almost as we speak, okay? But we just realized and just brought to everybody's attention probably that the funding for media was cut recently. And the effect of that actually has already been a long time coming. So it was sort of what was going to happen, but we started to see changes prior to this actually happening. I do want to read something to you so we can get kind of an idea of what's happening right here. It says, Congress has voted to eliminate federal funding for public media. This low blow to millions of Americans who rely on our journalism and programming. This is referring to one of the stations. We remain committed to bringing you the journalism you count on, but we need your help. You can't keep journalism on the ground. You can amplify powerful stories, and you can help to connect people to bring joy to the lives nationwide. So it's kind of a sign of the times. You would not have seen this type of letter written by the press before. And this comes on the heels as we begin to see less and less people filming in Los Angeles, of all places. And LA was the staple for where you go to film movies. But it is costly. And there have been a lot of cuts that have made. And it has become less and less of a priority for families, for people to go to the movies. Now, we've seen this before, right? Everybody's gone through a Great Depression, right? In a sense, there was the Great Depression, and then there was little mini recessions, as if we are not in one now. We actually are. But it hits places, and Hollywood used to escape this pretty much. Not escape it completely, but it became the place that people went to when we had these sort of crises. But times have changed, and they're beginning to slowly change with the breakdown of celebrity. Now, you've heard me talk about this in my last video. I'll put it down in the description box so you can find it, because everyone keeps saying, you keep mentioning these videos and we don't find them, or we don't get to see them, or you don't put, where to go. So I'm going to put it down in the description box so you'll know which video I'm referencing. But at this time, it just begins to show. It began to show with just the cancellation of bigger celebrities like Will Smith, for example. Like, if you want to call the reality people celebrities, Kim K's popularity and her being canceled off of the social media sites. And it's just sort of like with Puffy and all of these things going on, and all of that area being exposed because it was in the dark for a really long time. And when things are in the dark, you kind of tend to think you're going to continue to get away with it. And that's sort of the theme of Hollywood. Everything was quiet. Epstein's and Weinstein's and even Hefner's, all this stuff was sort of just, it was made quiet. And they were able to continue, for a really long time. But it seems to me, once the Me Too movement came out and people felt they could actually get supported by what they were speaking about, everything that was happening began to come up. It wasn't just, you know, these isolated incidences. It was just the place as a whole. I feel like in a time like this, especially as a filmmaker or as a media person, it is hard, but it is a chance to build something new. As something is tearing down, there's a chance for growth and to make better, you know, what remains, right? You don't have to, we didn't and could not in LA, in Los Angeles, in media period, continue the way we were going. It was too fast, it was too much, and it was too insensitive and focused on all of the wrong things. But what we can do is repair, right? And not just repair, but rebuild. And we can give ourselves a chance to maybe go in a newer direction, a fresher direction. And that's the way the world is going. You see the world is breaking down right now. At least it appears to be, right? And everything seems to be a struggle with everybody. It's not isolated or limited to one or two people or certain people. Everybody's feeling it. Everybody feels the weight of this financial inflation. Everybody feels the weight of the changes to the places that they were so familiar with. Travel, for example, to America has cut. The airports are more empty now. And people just simply seem to not want the hassle of coming into America. So these are just sporadic things that seem, you know, almost like people don't want to put it together. But it kind of goes together. It kind of goes together with the need to do something different. You have to change. When stuff starts breaking down, yeah, you can look at it in a bad way and say, I've lost so much and I have, you know, nowhere to go and nothing to do. And you can kind of sort of feel hopeless about it. And I feel like we're kind of going more in that direction. But there's another option. And we can sort of change directions. Give ourselves a chance to repair some of the damage that has been done that we didn't care about up until this point. A little commentary there. What do you guys think? I just don't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to come on and say some things, basically to give you updates, also to let you know that we were going to be going into the Q&A and talking a little bit in more detail about the cyber that you guys all loved. We talked about what was doing with this sextortion and the extortion just in general, and then just black market stuff and just some things that people weren't aware of and, you know, needed to kind of know, to know about. So it's the time of the season to just kind of let people sort of learn how to take care of themselves, for lack of a better description, right? And to not really, it's not the time to ignore what's going on, but rather find a way to take care of yourself and each other. All right. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my TikToks. I'll see you guys.